Hey guys, what's up? So this video is going to be our follow-up to our first E30 M3 field find video. We've had a lot of questions about how we found it, where we found it, and is it real? If you remember from the first video, I'd lost a lot of the footage from doing a walk around while I was at the car picking it up from the guy's house. So when I got back home about a week later, I actually did another walk around, with it back at the shop. Now, got a new camera, so hopefully the audio is better this time around. But the footage that you're about to see was actually shot with the old camera, so bear with us if it's not the greatest. I'm just gonna go over some of the details of the car and what kind of makes the M3 unique as compared to the other E30. As to how we found the car, one of my buddies had known about it for quite a while. We had a couple pictures of the car, so we decided to do some research, and after a couple months of investigation, we were able to come up with an address and a phone number. I called the phone number, and after several more weeks, was finally able to get in touch with the owner and asked him if he still had the car, and he indeed did have it and said to come down and take a look at it. So drove over and made him an offer. Found the car just south of Charlotte, North Carolina. It had been sitting since probably 2008, 2009, and the gentleman had owned the car since the early 2000s. Now, one of the things that's interesting about the car is he had told me the car was a kit car and that it was a 1984 318. So when I got there, the first thing I did was I checked all the VIN numbers on it. The VIN number that's on the firewall just below the windshield on the cowling in between the windshield wipers matched the VIN number that was on the dashboard and matched the VIN number that was on the sticker inside the door jamb, which also matched the bill of sale that he gave me. The car was originally from Connecticut, and being that it was a 1984, it did not come with a title. It comes with a bill of sale only. All of the paperwork matched. But as you'll see in a second, don't quite believe it's a real 1984 318. But take a look at the video, judge for yourself, and let us know in the comments what you think. As Robert would always say, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe button. Thanks, guys. The E30 M3 has a lot of body-specific parts, starting with the front suspension. An E30 M3 has a two-part strut where the lower knuckle is actually separate from the strut housing. And you can see this one's got the two-part strut. A regular E30, the sway bar would connect to the control arm, whereas an M3, the sway bar connects to the top of the strut just below the spring perch. Got aluminum control arms on it, which only came on the later model M3s. The earlier ones had just your regular cast, steel, iron, whatever you want to call it, control arms. The rear quarter panels, that's not something that you can just easily unbolt and bolt a new one on. You'd have to do some extensive cutting and welding and alignment. The rear C-pillar on an E30 M3 is a lot more sloped to allow for better aerodynamics, which is what BMW wanted when they took these things racing. From here, the trim line back is all custom and everything, and to put one of those in would require a lot of work that, again, why would you do that in the late 90s, early 2000s when you could just buy an actual M3? A lot of these cars coming from BMW should have VIN stickers like all over the thing. And all the VIN stickers here have actually been pulled off. Typically you'd see VIN stickers somewhere, in the rear quarter area. I actually pulled the rear bumper off when I got home to see if, any of the VIN stickers were there from the M3. And I didn't find a single one anywhere on the entire car. These under trays, got some of them removed. They're actually in the trunk because I had to take the bumper off. But, again, if you're building a replica, why would you go through the trouble of putting all the under trays on? The rear deck lid is fiberglass. There should be a VIN sticker in behind the toolbox. There's not one, but you can actually see that there's a slight difference in the paint / dirt. And you can see where there used to be a sticker. Some of these interior panels on the trunk are M3 specific, and they're all present. Trunk hinges. If this had been a 318, that battery would have been up front where the coolant reservoir is, right over the passenger's feet. I would suspect if this was a conversion, these seams right here would appear to be tampered with. It's where they put the back of the car together, and they're all fine. There's no evidence that any of the back of the car has been messed with. You know, the rear glass is glued in, just like you'd expect on an M3 versus a regular E30, which is held in with a lock strip and a rubber molding. You can still see, you know, there's a little bit of rust in the rockers. Again, it is from Connecticut. You know, there's no sign of any kind of grafting of a quarter panel in the door jamb here, but there should be, you know, VIN stickers located on the door there. There's nothing there. The M3 has a deleted molding, where if you look at an E30, there's that rubber molding that runs down the side. You can use regular E30 doors and modify them. These don't appear to have been modified. They look, unless somebody actually took a lot of time and welded up that divot and cleaned them up, these doors appear to be the correct doors. Going to the interior, the rear seat is M3 specific. You know, a lot of people say it's the same as the Cabriolet. Well, it looks the same, but the Cabriolet is actually a lot narrower. The third brake light is unique to the M3. They did that because the rear spoiler, you know, if they had it on the package tray like the other E30s, you wouldn't be able to see the brake. You'll see a lot of M stickers placed in the middle there, but you can tell the difference between a real one and a, you know, just an M sticker, in that the oil temp gauge is located below the tachometer. In a normal E30, that would be your fuel mileage. The gentleman lost his keys because the wheels were locked with them turned. I couldn't get them on my trailer, so I had to drop the steering column and actually spin the whole steering column to get the wheels straight. I believe it's a later model M3, because an earlier model one would have pop-out rear windows, and you can see these are fixed. I believe that changed in, you know, the late 80s, early 90s. However, this thing's also got airbag module, but a non-airbag steering wheel. This car has been in a pretty gnarly accident, and the whole front of the car is actually red. So you can see here under the, you know, the damage there, the fender's red. Come up here, you can look at the radiator support, and it's red. Inside of the hood's got red on it. If I come down here, you can see the radiator support's got red on it. And if we go up top and look down into the strut tower here, this whole strut tower has been wrinkled and pulled out straight. You can see up through here the wrinkle and where they've resealed it and hammered it and pulled on it. Looking back through here, you can see where they've welded in the red radiator support, and this sheet metal is just completely like wrinkled. All down in here is wrinkled. This is where your part of your AC system would go. Of course, that's missing. But it does have a nice S50 swap. So my theories on it are that someone had a wrecked, totaled out M3, and they had a 318 sitting around with a clean title that maybe had been wrecked too in a different spot, and they grafted the two together. From just about the firewall forward, the regular E30 and an M3 are the same, with the exception, I think there are minute differences in the radiator support, which you can see this one's been changed. Just prior to him parking it, he took it to a body shop and wanted to have, you know, the paint refreshed and have some door dents fixed and stuff like that. Well, the body shop had it for several months and basically got it to the condition you can see here, where they started sanding on it, and there's little spots here and there with some Bondo. You can see they were, you know, filling some stuff, and they hadn't really made a lot of progress on it. So he went back and picked up his car, and this is where, you know, where they left it. It had been in primer. They lost his front bumper, and you can see here's some of the light Bondo stuff I can see in the door lock there. Some stuff rolled over. The side skirts, I haven't pulled them off, obviously. I'm not sure how they attach, but I don't know if fasteners sticking through the body like that would be normal. The fenders are real M3. You can see they came from like a red car. There's some starting to show through. But the whole car is metal. If you're going to build a replica, a lot of people would use fiberglass. Of course, I guess back in the late 90s or whenever this one was quote-unquote built, you could still get body panels from the dealer and you know, build one that way.